Welcome to the Wrinkles and Variations series, where we take a base concept and show how to run it in different ways while keeping the rules the same for the bulk of the offense. I want to shout out Coach Ian Tatum for his Same As video, where he broke down GT counter and showed how to add variations to this base play while keeping it easy for most everyone by keeping the rules the same. Today we'll be looking at mesh and how we can add variations to it with similar rules as base mesh. I installed Mesh Rail earlier, so if you want to check that out, you can find that on my page. This is one of my favorite concepts because it provides a lot of answers if you implement it well. So let's look at base mesh. This is just your standard mesh, alright? We're going to have two meshers, and then we're going to have an OTB, and we also have what we call an axis route. This is any tagged route. It can be a post, it can be a go, it can be a comeback, it can be a corner, it can be a 10-yard out route, it can be anything that you want. That's going to be before you get to your progression in the mesh. That's just if the defense is giving you something, you're going to get to it, and you'll see, your quarterback will see that pre-snap. You can also bring him in if you want as an extra protector. We'll see that in mesh rail as well. If you want to get your running back out on the rail and keep another receiver in as an extra protector, then you can do that as well. But this is base mesh, all right? It's pretty much just 3 reads post-snap. All right, your progression is going to be play side shallow to the OTB to the backside shallow, all right? So we're essentially creating this triangle right here, all right? And your quarterback is either going to work left to right or right to left, depending on the direction of the mesh. Big thing for your receivers on this mesh, all right, you want one always over the top, and you want one always underneath. Have the same rules every time. Keep it consistent so these receivers don't have to think too much if they're over the top or underneath. Have one always over the top. And I like to have the first read, I like him underneath because it creates a seamless mesh. It creates an easy mesh. And there's not a lot of traffic for him to work through on that. You can give them the option to stay on the run or to sit it down versus zone. You can have them read it or not. A lot of times at the high school level, they don't do a great job of reading it man versus zone, so you can keep them on the run. You also have this OTB as your zone beater option. This OTB, all right, he's going to be 8 yards over the ball, and he's just going to sit it down. Usually in zone, these backers will attach to the shallows, and it'll create this window for the OTB over the ball. As far as protection, okay, you can do your normal slide protection rules. Have your running back pick up any extra blitzers away from the slide side. Okay, this is 2022 Jackson State. Here's a cut up of base mesh. All right, this is our X, our axis guy. We're just going to have him on a go route. This is going to be our Y. All right, he's 8 yards over the ball. And then our H is underneath, and our Z is over the top. Running back staying in the block. So again, our progression is going to be 1 to the play side mesh, 2 over the ball, and then 3 backside mesh, shallow. So we're coming down to the H, don't like it. OTB is not there, so we're going to hit the Z on the shallow for a touchdown. We're going to go shallow to OTB, down to the shallow. If you see it open, hit it quick. All right, let's look at mesh rail now. All right, everything stays the exact same. This is just our one wrinkle, our one variation right here is we add a rail. All right, we're taking out the running back as a protector, and we're throwing him into the pass concept. So the protection for the offensive line, we're just going to get big on big, manned up, 5-0. If they get 6 blitzers, 6 rushers, our running back's going to be our hot, usually going to be cover 0, right? So we're going to be hot to the running back. That's who we like right now in man anyway. So we're going to get the ball out quick to him. Everyone else stays the same. Okay, Z and H are meshing. Z is still over the top. H is still underneath. We got the Y on the OTB. Still axis to the X. Now just running back on the rail. So the only 2 people it changes, your running back on a route now and your quarterback. Okay, the rail is first in the progression. All right, So pre-snap, he's looking axis route, doesn't like it, okay? Now post-snap, we get to our progression. He's going to go 1 to the rail, 2 to the shallow, 3 to the OTB, 4 to the backside shallow. All right, so we still have this triangle after we check if this rail is going to be open or not. One simple coaching point is I like motioning the running back to this or just flipping him before the snap because it causes the defense to have to communicate more, to have to think more. And a lot of times they lose man responsibility about who's responsible for the running back. So it's just a simple wrinkle and variation to mesh rail that you can do to get him open right away on the rail route. So we're going to look at Michigan run this. All right, they're going to motion the running back. He's going to go motion to the rail. You'll see this corner who is manned up on him. He's going to call to someone else to be manned up on the linebacker, but no one takes responsibility. He's going to end up wide open, but we still have the Z right here. He's going to be over the top. Our H underneath. Our Y on the OTB. And then they got to cross by this X, by the axis guy. And as you can see too, you can put them in different formations, whatever formations that you want as an offense coordinator. But the rules stay the same for everyone. Just making sure that the Z and the H, they're always going to be on opposite sides. See how it plays out. Mesh rail is there right away. We're going to see Michigan be hot too. Maryland's going to bring a lot of blitzers. Running back, the rail is the hot player right now. Get the ball to him quick. We got mesh pivot, all right? So running back's the same, Y is the same, X is still the same, and the read for the quarterback is pretty much the same, all right? The only variation here is the Z and the H, the shallow mesh guys. They're going to whip it back out. So they're basically just replacing responsibilities, all right? They're going to dive in like they're running the shallow, okay? Right before they get to about the guard center over the ball, they're going to whip it back out. They really got to sell that. They really got to drive that and then whip it back out. You want to add this wrinkle in there, okay? Add this change up in here when it's man coverage, you're running mesh, and the linebackers are attaching. You got cover one spot, cover one rat. They're attaching to these shallows, all right? Or if the DBs are coming over the top or coming underneath, they're playing these shallows really well. They're playing really aggressive. They're playing really hard. They're avoiding really well. Add the pivot in there so you can sell it, whip it back out, get the ball to him, get him in space for a big gain. The read is still the same though, okay? So the quarterback progression, he's looking to the rail. Then he's coming back down to the Z, who replaces the H on the shallow, okay? The Z on the whip. Still coming to the same spot for the quarterback though. To the OTB, back to this pivot. So still have this triangle right here. All right, here we go. We got Oregon State running this. This is your Y right here. He's going to have the OTB. The Z, he's going to have the pivot. The H is going to have the pivot. Your axis, your X, he's going to be on a dig route, whatever you want, whatever you tag. We don't like that right now. And your running back is going to be on the rail. All right, so our progression for the quarterback, still 1 to 2 on the pivot, 3 on the OTB, 4 to this pivot. 5 guys to block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we got 5 on 5. We're manned up. If this blitzer comes, we know we're hot to the running back right now, and we can get the ball out. So let's look to the rail. Don't like it. Come down to the pivot. Got it. Big 4th down conversion by Oregon State. USC ends up having the D end pick up the rail, bring the linebacker. He comes free, but that whip, the pivot route hits fast enough for it to act as a hot. So great play by Oregon State. All right, next we got mesh rewind. All right, this is a good wrinkle if against man or zone. All right, in zone, if they're sitting on these shallow routes, all right, they're sitting on the rail route. They're doing a good job of taking the middle on the OTB. Then we can add this little rewind right here by the H. All right. It's also good against man. All right. Again, OTB is not good against man. If they're doing a good job on the rail, if linebackers are attaching hard to the shallows, you can also throw this rewind in there. All right, so whatever access you want by the X, you want him away from the rewind though. All right, so there's no traffic. You usually want to get the rail out of here. You want an extra protector because it does take a little bit longer. And you don't want the running back railing to the rewind side. Just adds more traffic. So keep him in. You still got the Y on the OTB. You still got the Z on the shallow. And the H is taking the same track. Right when he meshes with the Z, he's going to turn it up, rewind. He's going to sail to about 15 yards right in this window towards the numbers. It's a little bit of a harder route, so if your H is more athletic guy, better route runner, this is a good option for you to throw in there. But just a small wrinkle and a small variation, still similar progression for the quarterback, still similar routes, same as routes for a lot of these guys. Just a good wrinkle to add for your mesh concepts. We still have a triangle, just looks a little bit different. All right, so we still have the triangle. We're going to go 1 to the shallow, 2 to the OTB, just because it's going to hit quicker, and then 3 to the rewind. All right, so we got Clemson running it against LSU in the 2020 National Championship. We're going to be over here on the OTB. We're going to be right here on the shallow, and then right here is going to be your rewind. And watch how this times up. Watch how it looks like mesh. And then we set a good sail angle by that bottom receiver. Running back's going to stay in, help protect because it does take a little bit longer. So looking at the shallow, don't like it. No OTB. Come back to that rewind, to that sail. Can hit it quick. All right, we're going to look at mesh screen. All right, this is a really cool wrinkle, really cool variation. This has come up a little bit more in the past couple years. Some teams have been running it, and just a cool change up. You know, if you're running mesh a lot and you find yourself in a second and long or third and long situation, or heavy blitzers, you want to get to a screen concept, a screen look, then you can add mesh screen. All right, so X, still the same for X. Every time on these variations, it's been the same for X. It's going to be the same for the offensive line, and it's going to be the same tracks for these receivers, just with a small variation. All right. So H, he's going to shallow, but he's really looking to block this front side linebacker. Z coming to mesh, he's looking to block this backside linebacker. And then Y is looking like he's going to the OTB. And then he's just going to kind of get the MDM safety, any over top player right here. The running back, he's going to make it look like rail, and then he's going to angle it back in, catch it, follow his blocks by the mesh screen blockers, the mesh screen receivers. All right. So quarterback really has 2 reads. He's the pre-snap access, and then it's a screen, so he's really trying to get it to this running back. All right, so that's really his only read. The running back really has to read this. He wants to make it look like rail. If there's too much traffic out here, all right, I've seen it enter through the B gap, but we really want to angle it back in and then follow these guys. All right, so right here, this is the Dolphins running it. These are 2 meshers. All right, so he's going to make it look like mesh. Come block this linebacker. All right, he's going to make it look like mesh. Come block this backside linebacker. Make it look like OTB. Go get safety. They also don't have an axis right here, so he's just going to come off, make it look like post. Come block the safety. Ideally, you keep things the same, right? Keep things similar. You want it to look like a rail route and then angle it back in. But right here, they're just going to have him enter, do the B gap, catch it, follow his mesh screen blockers. Make everything look like mesh, and then set up screen. Another big coaching point, right? You want to really work on the timing so you're not getting pass interference down the field. You're not engaging in blocks before we get the ball out. So really need to work on the timing so there's no penalties right there. All right, this is a great goal line play. You've probably seen it a lot. This is mesh traffic. All right, this is going to be the running back entering through the B gap, and he's going to be the first read in the progression. All right. Get a lot of man down on the goal line. Linebacker responsible for the running back. Linebacker has a lot of traffic to get through, to get to the running back going to the opposite B gap and going to the flats, hence why we call it traffic. All right, so everything is the same for the Z, the Y, and the H. They're still doing their normal mesh rules. You can still have your axis by the X. The only thing that changes is the T, the running back. He's going to be entering the opposite B gap, heading straight to the flat. All right, so similar on rail. That's your first read, and then quarterback's just reading the triangle, but the running back's going to come open. Good look at the Rams running it. All right, so we're going to have Cooper Kupp. He's going to be on the shallow. Tight end is going to be on the shallow. Puka, this is your X, this is your axis guy. He's going to end up having a backline dig route. He's going to come in. He's going to be the OTB. So there's a lot of natural picks route. Everyone's tight. And then running back, he's going to enter the opposite B gap, head to the flat. Stafford's going to give him a easy ball for a touchdown. Enter through the B gap, use speed, get to the flat. Linebacker doesn't stand a chance, right? All right, here's the last one that we're going to look at. It's mesh plus a concept. All right, we got mesh plus a dagger concept right here. So this is really good if they're playing a lot of zone, right, or they're mixing it up, man and zone. When they're playing zone, they're taking away that OTB look. So you're going to get to another zone beater, right? So we got a dagger concept right here. All right, so we'll look at that versus zone. And then versus man, we're going to look at the mesh concept. All right, so quarterback, if you have a quarterback who's really good reading post-snap, what kind of coverage it is, all right, this is something that you can get to. Okay, so post-snap, he sees that it's man. He's getting into his regular mesh rail progression. All right, he's going to the rail, to the shallow. There's no OTB right here, so he's just coming back to the backside shallow. Let's say post-snap it's zone. Okay, he's going to get to his dagger progression. All right, he's going to go 1 to the seam, 2 to the dig, and then back down to the flats on the backside shallow. So it's all intertwining, it's all interweaving, and it's all working together to provide your offense and your quarterback with a lot of answers. You can do mesh dagger, you can do mesh smash, you can do mesh flood, mesh white cross. All right, a lot of different variations, a lot of different concepts that you can piece together. But really want you to see, okay, on all these variations and all these wrinkles, everyone is pretty much the same, okay? Just try to keep the same base rules as mesh. Try to keep it same as base mesh. And then you can add a little bit of wrinkles that only changes 1 or 2 people and keeps everyone else the same, right? It allows you to add a bunch of new stuff. It allows you to be creative without changing a bunch of things, and you can keep it simple for your players in order that you can do more as an offense. All right, so this is Oklahoma. We're gonna have a rail by the running back, shallow right here. We're gonna have a shallow right here. This is our Y. He's gonna be on a seam, and then this receiver, he's going to be on a dig route. He ends up settling down a little bit, but there's your dig route, okay? We're going to see post-snap that it's zone, right? So quarterback recognizes zone. We're going to get to our dagger look now. If it's man, we're getting to our mesh, but it's zone, we're getting to our zone beater concept. Get to the dig. Good looking play right there. You get the rail, player blocking downfield. A lot of answers versus a lot of different defenses. There's a ton of different wrinkles and variations that you can add to mesh. It's yours to be creative with. That's the importance of building a foundation and building identity, is you can keep things same as the base concept, keep things as similar as possible, keep things simple for your players, and add just 1 or 2 wrinkles, 1 or 2 variations that really give a different look without changing too much for your offense. I appreciate you joining me today. Follow Coordinator Corner on all social media platforms and be on the lookout for more videos. Thank you for watching.